What's up, guys? Kelly McKay here, aka HVAC Millionaire, right here on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell, hit the like button, and leave me a comment below. I want to show you the difference between a business that might be struggling, whether it be financially or to just grow to get to that next level, because there are just things that are happening in the business that shouldn't be happening or should be improving that maybe aren't. And so it might look like this. Let's say you went out and you ran 3 calls, right? 3 service calls. First one's $89 maybe. And then you had a 0 ticket because it was a callback, or it was something that you didn't charge for, or it was something simple and you just discounted yourself and decided not to charge very much for that. And then maybe your next one is $652, right? I mean, that's going to equal an average of something. I'm not going to do the math, but you can do it if you want, just to find out what your average is. But then you take another company. Let's say this is company A. You take company B. They go out and run 3 calls. And maybe the first one's $372, $680, and maybe $1421. And then you take that company's average service ticket, it's going to be way higher than this company that is struggling. I mean, it's pretty simple, right? Now, a lot of people think that the difference is sales. Like, oh, well, I'm just not good at sales, or I've got to figure out, I don't believe in sales, or even if you don't believe in sales, or maybe you just don't like to be that person who has to be, has to overcome objections, right? Well, the thing that we're missing here, like the disconnect between company A, who's barely squeezing by, and company B, is it's not sales, it's service. Like, we're just not providing a good enough service. And we can't just go out and charge a whole bunch more for what we do. That's just going to get you in trouble. Like, you have to increase your value, your perceived value. You got to increase the level of service that you provide. And I know I did a video on this because I have like my notes right here. And I talk about this, the pillars, right? The pillars of a successful heating and air conditioning business. And the foundation is based off of you as a business owner. It's your determination, your grit, your tenacity, your ambition, your values, your character, your beliefs, your behaviors, your attitude, your thoughts, your support, your dream, your vision, your plan, your knowledge, experience, and focus. That is the foundation of the business. That's why all roads lead to personal development. Because when you become a better person and you increase your value, you're able to increase and translate that value to the service that you provide, which increases the value that the customer is willing to pay for, or the level of service that they're paying for dramatically spikes and goes up. On top of that, you've got convenience. The pillars are convenience, perceived value, a fair exchange, and quality. And then your price sits on top of that. So if you came down here in the baseline of all the things that I just listed, of the foundation, and you're trying to put your price down here in the foundation, and you don't have the rest of the pieces of the foundation, it doesn't work. It will not work. You're going to feel crummy about what you're doing. You're going to feel like you're ripping people off, and you probably will be ripping them off because you haven't built the convenience, the perceived value, the fair exchange, and the quality into your pillars that your price rests upon. And this is your business up here. So when you do all of those things and they come together, it's unbelievable what can happen to a business as far as the transformation that happens. So let's talk about the overcoming objections. Like, a lot of people think that they need sales training. And I'm not saying that, man, I can tell you when it came to our kitchen table sales for equipment, when I took some sales training on that, it made a huge difference in my company because I started to realize that I'm not selling heating and air conditioning. I'm selling myself. I'm selling my business. I'm selling us, what we do, what makes us different, versus just trying to compare prices to other companies. Like, that's not what we're selling. We're selling intangible. A lot of the stuff that we sell is intangible. Of course, you have the equipment and the parts and the labor, and you've got all that stuff too, but there's also an intangible portion that we have to sell in order to get a person to decide to go with us versus going with somebody else. Otherwise, you're just going to keep fighting for scraps. And if you're not the lowest price competitor, I think Dan Kennedy is the person who says this. He says, there's no trophy for being the second lowest price competitor in your market. And the reality is if you're not a great big company that's been around for many, many years, decades upon decades, getting the best pricing available, you can't offer the same price as somebody who does volume versus quality. You know, so somebody, and I'm not saying that you can't do both. Like, there's some companies, really great companies out there that combine both of those. They do volume and they do quality. And they're usually dominating the market. In some markets, just because they're doing volume, it doesn't mean that they have to lower their price. Even though they're buying stuff for so much cheaper, they just get to make more money. And good for them. You know, they're not ripping people off. This is another thing, is if we go around thinking that our competitors who charge more than us are ripping people off, then you're going to continue to stay stuck where you're at. Because if they were ripping people off, how do they stay in business? Like, they're doing some things right, and they're probably focused on the right things. They're not just doing things right, they're focused on the right things. So that's what I help business owners do, is we've got to focus on the right things. Once we focus on the right things, then a lot of the pieces will just come together and you'll start making more money. Your team will your team will get more aligned, and you can actually start scaling the way that you've always dreamt that you could. But until those pieces are right, like, nothing's going to change. And it all starts in here. Like, we got to change our mindset about the way we think about our business. We're not technicians anymore. We're business owners. As soon as you decide to hang up your shingle, right? You nail up your shingle. That's what the old saying that people used to say. Once you decide that, you're now a business owner. You're no longer a technician. Technician is just one of the tasks that you have to do as a business owner until you can hire more people. So it's kind of like if you bought a shop and you have to take out the garbage in the shop. Are you a janitor? No. You're just a business owner who takes out the garbage occasionally when it's needed. Well, when you look at your business, you're not a technician anymore. You're a business owner who occasionally runs a service call if needed, until you can replace yourself. Because your number one priority as a business owner is to start replacing yourself, and that starts with all the individual tasks that you're responsible for. And once we start taking all these tasks off of our plate, then that allows more time for us to focus on business activities, which can actually scale the business. Otherwise, you're just constantly taking out the garbage. Like, you don't have any time for anything else but to take out the garbage. You might as well be your own shop's janitor. And there's nothing wrong with being a janitor. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if you want to be a janitor, you can just go to work being a janitor. If you want to be a service technician, you can go to work and make a lot more money than you're probably making trying to do it on your own, have a lot less stress, might be even extending your life because of the stress that you don't have to carry anymore with everything else that goes along with business. So you might as well go do that if you just want to stay a service tech. It's just, there's no reason to go out on your own. When you have enough skill being a service tech, you could probably go to work anywhere and call your own shots, like call your own hours. Like, if I wanted to go back to work as a service tech, which I don't, but if I did, I'm perfectly capable. I don't want to do it 5 days a week. But what if I'd come in for 3 days a week? and I want X amount for my salary. I promise you I could get it because there's people out there who need help. So listen, I showed you the invoices, right? The difference in the invoices. And it's not about sales. It's truly about service, okay? Then when it comes to our months, right? We've got January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, right? It looks like this a lot of times on people's, like it goes up as the weather helps push more business our way, right? So the difference between the businesses that are really crushing it and the businesses that aren't is this is what the people who, if this was company A, right, this is what their calendar looks like. Company B might look more like this. January, February, March, April, May, June, July. So you can see it's not as dramatic. This is a dramatic, like we have no business, now we got too much business. It's not nearly as dramatic. So at the end of the year, Company B is left with far more money in the bank, far more profit, because they didn't lose so much money during the months where the weather wasn't cooperating and creating that seasonality in their business. So that's another way that we can increase what's happening in a business. Another way is you've got technician A. Here, let's not even go with technician A. Let's look at the schedule, right? Your schedule. Like let's say we got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and each one of these is a service call, right? Service call, 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 right? This is company A. Where company B, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right? Company B might have some days where they're not all booked. Maybe Wednesday's busy, right? So look at the difference in the schedules. If each one of these X's was a customer calling in that needed your service, you got all of these people that need your service, and then company B has this many people needing their service. Which company is going to do better? Like which company is going to create more wealth for the people that come to work for them, for themselves, for their family, for their team? It's just blatantly obvious when you think about it in really simple terms. And I'm a simple guy, so I think in simple terms. So everything that I just showed you, it's the same with, you got one technician A versus technician B. A, B. At the end of the week, technician A produces $2,421. Technician B produces $10,871. Which company, now if you got a technician who can consistently produce this versus this, which company is going to do better? It's simple, guys. We overcomplicate it. And we get in our own way. Let's just be honest. We get in our own way. We get in our own heads. And we've got to escape that if anything is going to change. And part of the things that we need to do is we have to become a better leader. AI is not going to save you. It's not going to save your company. Softwares like ServiceTitan or HouseCall Pro, I mean, they're really nice and convenient, and you do need them. I'm not saying you don't need them, but they're not going to save your company. It's not going to dramatically increase everything in your company. Rebranding, although it can be effective, it's not going to dramatically increase the value of your company without you becoming a better leader. All these different AI platforms that help us run better service calls, they still require a leader, a manager that's monitoring these things so they can continue to improve. Data without any action being taken to improve that data doesn't help anybody. It's not going to help you. So if you find that you don't have time right now to study the current data that you have, having more data by signing up with an AI company isn't going to change things. It's just a realization that you have to come to terms with. There's nothing that's going to save your business except for you, because nobody's coming to save you. Technology is not going to save you. So hope this was eye-opening. Like, this is the difference between, look, it's not uncommon. It's not unrealistic for a company to go from $300,000 to $3 million when they train with me. And it's also not unrealistic for that same person who owns that company to develop themselves into a leader, which allows them more freedom to spend at home while their business grows, so they can get more of the things that they always wanted in life and in their business. That's not uncommon. It's not unrealistic. What makes it unrealistic is for people who think that they can do it without a mentor or a coach. You got to do it with a mentor or a coach, or it just won't happen. So we have another workshop coming up October 19th. I hope you guys will join. I'll put the link in the description for you to register for it. Hope to see you there. And as always, go make money. Boom.